Whether you're envisioning a fully custom new home or considering a more streamlined approach, there are so many options you can take to turn your dream home into a reality. From working with a custom home builder to selecting a pre-designed floor plan and everything in between. So what do you need to know about building a home you've always wanted? Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a local real estate agent right here in Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and I specialize in helping clients from all over the country relocate right here to Georgia. I am standing here at one of my clients' custom-built homes from a custom builder that we connected them with, and today we are going to dive into everything you need to know about custom-built homes. Let's talk about all the different ways that you can build a new construction home. Obviously, you can go to a new construction neighborhood where you can pick out a lot and build a new home with varying degrees of customization. Now, in some neighborhood, builders have gone all the way through and made all the selections for the homes, and these are going to be called spec houses, and you can't make any changes to these. You can either go under contract on it while it is being built, or you can purchase a new construction home that has already been completely built. And that is exactly what a spec home is. It's a home that a builder is building when they don't exactly have a buyer for it yet. Now, in some neighborhoods, you can make all of the selections and design options that your heart desires. You can pick out the lot, the floor plan, the flooring, cabinet colors, upgrades, and so on. And I would estimate that about 30% of new construction neighborhoods here in the North Metro Atlanta area allow you to make all the design selections for your home. One of the common builders for this is going to be Toll Brothers, and this is also very common in 55 plus neighborhoods and with smaller builders. Now, you're not going to see the mega builders like D.R. Horton that you see building homes all across the country offer these kinds of options because it is much easier and more streamlined for them to order massive quantities of supplies and put them into all of their homes instead of having people make their own selections and then have to order these. It's a lot cheaper for them to operate this way. This is largely why you'll be able to have a much more affordable price point on this kind of new construction home. Typically, when you work with a builder that lets you make all of your design selections, you are going to have to pay usually between 10 to 20% of the cost of these design selections upfront in a non-refundable deposit, and some even as high as 50%. Now, the builder wants you to pay a deposit on these design selections because if you happen to walk away from the house, the builder is stuck with the home that has been designed exactly to your specifications, and the next buyer may not want those same things. Now, when you do close, this money gets credited to you at closing, but you need to have the cash on hand for these kind of selections if you decide on this kind of new construction. This is definitely a more custom approach to new construction than buying a builder-selected spec home for sure, but you may want even more customization and decide on a true custom-built home. I often have clients who will reach out and say that they want to find a piece of land to buy and then build on in the future. Now, this is a lot easier said than done for many different reasons. People think that this would be one of the most cost-effective ways to buy or build a home, and it's really not the case. Gone are the days where you could find cheap land, at least in the areas that most people reach out to me and want to be in here in the North Metro Atlanta area. This is essentially not an option in areas like Alpharetta, Johns Creek, or Swanee. These areas are already very developed, so there's not much land left, and what is left is going to be very pricey. It's usually a chunk of land just big enough for a builder to come in and put a few homes on it, which allows them to offset the high price of the land itself. So unless you have a huge budget, this is not going to be a very viable option. You also have to think that if a lot is left over and a builder has not built it to put their own spec home on, usually there's a reason, and typically that reason is for it's really difficult to build on, there's a lot of additional added expenses to make the house or make the land buildable, or it's not in a great location. Now, there are more affordable tracts of land in some of the more rural areas throughout North Georgia, which would definitely be a more feasible option. But I find that people who are reaching out with this plan want to be a lot closer into all of the developed areas, so it just doesn't work. Also, like I mentioned a moment ago, builders are scoping out any available parcel of land that they can, and they're putting up several houses right together or entire neighborhoods, usually pretty modern and upscale homes, and selling them for a premium. So if you do find a parcel of land for sale in a highly developed area, it's like I said, likely for a very good reason. If a builder hasn't come along and purchased it to build on, it's usually because the land itself would be very difficult to build on or grade. There's permitting issues with the county or some other reason that makes the land difficult or undesirable to build on. So this is an instance where you would want to do further research. You can find land farther out in the $70,000 to $100,000 range, but to find a quality lot closer into the metro, it's going to be a few $100,000. So unless you're open to being in areas quite a bit further out from your usual access and amenities, this is going to be a very expensive way and difficult process to move forward on. This is especially true if you're thinking about buying a lot on Lake Lanier and building a house. So at the top of this video, you saw a great client of mine who we went through this exact same process. We painstakingly looked for a house for our client, but could not find what they wanted, so we pivoted towards finding a lot that would allow them to do a custom build. Now, this was difficult because of the high demand and return on investment. Any good land likely has already been sold, or whoever owns it is going to hang on to it, which was the case for this buyer where you saw this beautiful custom log built home that was being built. This seller had held on to this land for a very long time, and we happened to find a great lot. Now, if you do find a lot on the lake for sale, you're going to want to do a lot of research and see if this is a feasible piece of land for you and the home that you want to build on it. Between the Army Corps lines, the rough landscape of the land around the lake, making sure that it would be able to support a septic system and house big enough for you, it can be very difficult to build a house on the lake. Most often people buy houses that already exist on the lake and then they tear them down and build in the same place because the septic systems, permitting, all that thing is already there in place and they know that they can build on there. They can also, improve the foundation or completely redo it and not have to do so much prep work going into the lot itself in terms of grading. Now, even houses in teardown condition on the lake can cost a premium, and many of them are on lots that wouldn't be ideal to try and rebuild on. I had a client that wanted a great lot with a gentle walk to the dock, so they bought a house that had this so that they could tear it down and rebuild in the same place. Now, because of this great location of lot on the south end in Beaufort, they paid over $800,000 for a house with a good lot and a dock, just so that they could knock it down and start all over. Here's another great example of what I mean. This lot is listed for sale on the lake. It is just over half of an acre and it's listed for $750,000. Certainly not the cheapest way to go about getting a house on the lake. One option that is a little bit easier to find is to find a lot in a neighborhood that is for sale and build there. Now, there are a couple different scenarios here. There are some neighborhoods that may have lots for sale and they have a selection of builders that already have been through the vetting process and they know what product they can build on these lots. Or you'll find a neighborhood that a builder came into, developed houses, and then ran out of money during the recession or decided to move on to a different project. So there are still available lots for sale to purchase in the neighborhood. Or perhaps someone bought a lot thinking that they were going to build on it and then they decided not to and now they're reselling it. Now, with these scenarios, you would have to source your own builder. There are going to be requirements from the HOA of the neighborhood, if the neighborhood has one, usually just to make sure that whatever you build fits in what's already there, and these are called the architectural guidelines. This usually involves a square footage requirement and you'll have to get the elevation or the exterior of the house approved by the HOA. There is less legwork involved when you find a neighborhood that has several different lot options and builders who have already figured out what it would cost to build on this land. I think if you're looking for a more custom home build, this is going to be one of the best ways to accomplish this goal. These builders will usually allow you to make modifications and customizations to best fit your needs, but you're going to have some limitations based on what the land will allow for and what the build plans are. The county is going to have lines of disturbances that they have to build around, so you can't just find find a piece of land and put absolutely anything you want on it. And another benefit to finding a builder who is already built in the neighborhood or has an approved lot, they've already done all this preliminary legwork and figured all of this out for you. You'll have to work with their plans and blueprints that they already have decided they can build, but they can usually make some adjustments for you to make some things more custom. Now, the most custom way you can build a home is to go out, find a lot, find an architect and a builder who comes up with a plan just for you and build the home. Especially if you want a completely customized floor plan and not something a builder has built in the past, this is going to be one of the most customized options for building a home that meets your exact wants and needs. This is what my client whose house that we saw at the beginning of the video on the lake lot is doing. I helped him purchase this lot on Lake Lanier, put him in contact with a great local builder who is building his dream log cabin right on Lake Lanier. The builder does not have floor plans of their own that they build, but they do recommend an engineer and an architect who they can pair you with to come up with a floor plan that works for what you want, and the builder can give input on what would be the easiest and fit within the budget that you're looking for. It typically takes about a year, and they only do a handful of homes each year to keep the quality high. Because of this scope of work, which is typically a pretty pricey project, for this builder, most everything is well over $700,000. Now, for some people, they are completely fine with this in order to get the exact home that they want. But for many, a big, huge price point like this, pushing over the $1 million mark, is not exactly what they are after. I think a lot of people think that buying land and building a home is a more affordable way to buy a house. But because of the high cost of land, finding a builder who is able to build that house, it's often a much more expensive than buying a new construction home in a community already being built by a builder or buying a resale home. Land was once cheaper and the cost of building a home was a lot cheaper too. So there is a lot of factors that contribute to this, but many people are really surprised to hear how expensive it would be to go the custom route. The financing aspect of this kind of construction purchase is very different from just getting a pre-approval from your standard conventional loan. Sometimes you're going to have a separate loan for the lot and then a construction loan, and sometimes these can be tied all together. I have a fantastic local lender that has great experience with this process, and he has a solution where you can get the land and construction loan all together so that you only have to have one closing. If you're interested in this, let me know and I'm going to put you in contact with him so we can explore all of your options. There are a lot of different ways to go about getting a custom built home, from completely custom to semi-custom to just buying a house that a builder is already building. Is new construction in your future, and are you interested in building a custom home of your own, or you lean more towards resale? Let me know in the comments below. If you are planning on making a move here to Georgia, I would love to be your real estate agent and guide you through this process. You can reach me by clicking on the link in the pinned comment below. And of course, if you want to learn more about new construction homes here in Georgia, make sure you watch this video next.